to beautiful but rugged Basilicata. Gone are the gentle rolling hills and fertile plains of Puglia. Adam is back in the mountains where agriculture is challenging. Basilicata is perhaps only one of the places in the world where people still live in dwellings built by their ancestors 9,000 years ago. Today, Adam travels to Matera to visit these dwellings. He discovers the homemade pasta of the region and cooks it up in a very simple recipe with a very enthusiastic chef.
This is my pilgrimage. Come share the journey with me.
Despite all of the hardship faced by the people of Basilicata as a result of their challenging environment, and despite the relative poverty that brings to the region, there is something that Basilicata has in almost immeasurable wealth: history.
I would have to say I have the most amazing backdrop behind me, being the town of Sassi di Matera. And people have been living here for over 10,000 years. And today I have Antonio, who's an urban planner, to explain a little bit more about Sassi di Matera. Ciao, Antonio.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. Antonio, what does Sassi di Matera mean?
Sassi actually is a word that, if translated into English, would mean stones. And the reason is linked to the relationship that exists between the settlement and the raw material, because it is the stone and the rock that builds the place, and the stone that builds the place is the stone that was taken out from the caves.
And Sassi di Matera, is it protected?
It is a protected area because since 1993, when Matera was enlisted in the UNESCO Heritage list, this place was protected also at the international level.
As well. Antonio, we've touched on the uniqueness and the beauty of Matera, but I'm guessing throughout the time in history there could have been possibly bad times?
There was a time in history after Second World War when Matera was labeled national shame.
Wow.
That was when the national government discovered such a troglodyte settlement in the modern era where there was a very high children mortality, just to tell you something about that. And that's why there was a huge program of investments that was targeted to move the whole population of Sassi into new neighborhoods.
How come the government couldn't see that this community that had been here for 10,000 years, living together, had so many positive attributes?
Well, they were able to see just what was in front of their eyes. There are many things that were studied, and one of the most precious things that Matera showed to the people was how they were able to share social life, even food.
It's very interesting, Antonio, but what I really want to know, these methods and recipes of the old way, are they still being used here today in Matera?
I think it is another part of the rebirth of this place. You can look eat from the culture, from the creativity, and even food is part of our creativity. So the tradition is still living nowadays, and it is reinterpreted sometimes into new dishes that are rooting themselves into our history and into our earth.
Antonio, all around us there is evidence to show how ancient civilization once lived.
Yes, this is a place where you can find the truth. Look, this was an old church. And here you can smell thyme, rosemary, wild fennel, mallow and sage.
And wheat.
Yes, this is the time in the year when wheat dries, and very soon it will be harvested.
So they'd turn this into flour, I guess, and with all those other amazing ingredients that have fabulous recipes and pasta.
Of course. And here you can find also water, which is the reason why people settled here and was able to live for such a long time. There is the evidence of how our ancestors were able to collect rainwater and purify that in order to use it for living and cooking.
Antonio, how do you think we could take something of how ancient civilization once lived into how we live today?
Well, if I would say if there's a lesson to be learned from our very long history, is that there must be space for people to live together in harmony with nature and with the environment.
After the break, Adam visits a famous specialty food store in Matera, where they preserve the pig in the form of cured meats and sausage. When it comes to pasta, Matera is rich in history as well. Around here, the people have made a hand-twirled pasta at home, a pasta shape called minuik.
Antonio talked about how families lived inside caves. Well, have a look at this. I'm inside one of the original caves where, would you believe, a family of 11 lived. But not only the family of 11, there was their horse, their pig, and their chickens. That's just quite amazing. And one of their staple ingredients they had within their household was wheat, and in particular, durum wheat. Also, with the irrigated water, they were able to make pasta. And I have Zia Teresa next to me showing me a traditional pasta of the time, which was called minuik. This pasta was made with the durum wheat, manipulating it with water and making sure that the dough was really smooth. Zia Teresa is using a ferretto. And a ferretto is like a knitting needle, but in particular this ferretto is square in shape. So it's quite hard to manipulate the pasta over it. As you can see, she's taking her time and using her hand just to roll it over the ferretto, like so, and then sliding it off. So it's all about timing, making sure that your dough is nice and soft, and then you're just softly rolling it over the ferretto. Like so. It takes time to make these spirals, but really the minuik pasta, we know this pasta as today, fusilli.
Perhaps because of its geography and historical poverty, meat is not a common feature in the cooking of Basilicata. There are exceptions. There are lamb dishes for special festivals, for example. But in Basilicata, the pig is king. Families make one pig last all year and nothing is wasted.
I understand in Basilicata, Arianna, that the pig is known as the king.
Yes, sure. Yes, actually we have a saying here in Basilicata that says del maiale non si butta via niente.
Which means?
It means that we absolutely don't throw any part of the pig, of the meat.
So you use the whole animal?
The whole animal, yeah, sure.
So when you're making these amazing sausages, and that's what I've come here to find out about, is three in particular. There's a lucanica,
lucanica,
a sopressate,
soppressata,
and the last one, pizzante.
pezzente.
Pizzante, okay. Sam, could we try some of that? Oh. Wow, look at that. So this is the lucanica?
Yes, here we have the lucanica, if you want to try it.
I will. Not too much fat, but there's a really hint of fennel.
And red pepperoni.
That's what it is. The pepperoni, I can get that taste, that little bit of pepper. We try the next one, the soppressata.
Sure.
Oh. Now this is looking, in particular, really, really nice because there's a bit more fat to it than soppressata.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to dig in. I have to eat straight away.
Please.
That fat in the sausage is amazing. A little bit of fennel again.
Yes, sure. It's flavored just with fennel seed and salt. That's it.
That's it.
This is considered the king sausage because it's made just with first cut meat.
Ah, so the best cuts of meat are put into the soppressata.
Here you are.
Look at
If
that.
you want to try, it's really, really tasty.
Look at the fat content in that. That is full of flavour. This will create the most amazing pasta dish later on I'm thinking about already. A plate of pasta with this.
It's perfect, yeah. And it's flavored with garlic, as you can taste, fennel seed again, black pepper,
Yes.
and chili pepper.
Thank you. I'll stop with that one.
Thank you.
Ariana, grazie.
Grazie a te.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
After the break, Adam cooks it up with a very simple recipe with a very enthusiastic chef.
Today I'm lucky enough to be cooking with an Italian celebrity chef who's going to be showing me a traditional pasta dish of this region using minuet pasta, which is a traditional shape, but I'm commonly used to using the more modern version fusilli. Ciao Francesco.
Piacere, Francesco Abbondanza.
Grazie. Francesco, first step, what do we need to do?
Ok, ecco qua. Prendiamo l'asparago, iniziamo a tagliare questo. Duro.
He's telling me the stalk, cut the base of the stalk of the... Oh, what? Okay, andiamo.
Taglia, prego.
Piccolo?
Prego, piccolo, piccolo.
Okay.
Aspetta, insieme. Olè, vai, very good.
So we're putting the asparagus into boiling water.
Sale,
Pochi sale.
sale, io, tu, insieme.
Same time, here we go. Teamwork, look at that.
Poi insieme, sale.
Sale again.
Oh, no, italiano.
Italiano, good luck. Perfect. Oh, the sausage that Francesco told me.
Pezzente. Presidio slow food.
So, okay.
Presidio slow food.
This is a traditional sausage of the area of Basilicata. So he's removing the skin of the sausage. And this is one of the things that I do back home. I love cooking like this.
Prendi.
Okay.
Olio.
Okay.
Olio.
Into the pan. Good amount of olive oil too. Io?
Sì,
All right,
prego.
andiamo.
Vai, io ti mantengo la padella.
Okay.
Bravo, così. Bravo.
The wooden spoon.
Piccolino, quando è bambino.
Francesco's telling me when he was a little kid, he used to get the wooden spoon. So he's cooking the pasta with asparagus, so the flavor's going to be in the water.
Change.
Swap.
Qua,
Okay.
io qua. Io giro, tu giri la pasta.
Okay, sì. He's telling me to stir the pasta.
Questo è...
Francesco's using the spoon to break
Spingi,
down the
spingi,
sausage,
spingi.
release all the
Si
flavor.
deve? Italiano.
Asparagus.
Asparagus. Così.
So he's taking the pasta straight out of the water, no need to strain, just into the pan, so the flavor's transferring from one pot into the other pan.
Acqua. Così.
A little bit of the water. Poco,
qua, poco acqua. Togliamo questo. Pla.
Ok,
Vai.
io.
Ok,
No
questo
problem.
lo tolgo. Questo lo spegniamo. Un po' d'olio. Le mucche, stato brado, camminano.
Jessica's telling me this is a local cheese to the area of Basilicata that the cows basically forage themselves roaming around the mountains. But the smell is amazing.
Un po' piccantino, semi-piccante.
Piccante. Piccante meaning a little bit sharp in taste. Tutto.
Sì, possiamo mettere tutto. Questo lo faccio io perché la parte finale mi toglie il fiato.
He's telling me that he has to do the final touches so he can be...
Ecco qua, Adam.
Grazie Francesco.
Grazie a voi, complimenti, bravo.
Can you recommend wine to match this pasta?
Un bel bicchiere di vino rosso aglianico di Rio Nero del Vulture, fantastico.
Monte Vulture is an extinct volcano formed over thousands of years. Beginning 800,000 years ago, Vulture now rests peacefully with its slopes rich with fertile soil.
From this fertile volcanic soil comes one of Basilicata's most famous wines, Anglinico del Vulture Superiore. Pamela, I understand that your winery is very unique.
Yeah, that's true. We are at the slopes of a volcano, a sleepy volcano. We have a rich soil, rich in mineral elements. Also, we have an ideal climate here. And furthermore, we have a volcanic layer under the level of the soil.
Shall we try some?
Okay, so they are the 4 reds we produce from the variety grape Aglianico del Vulture. They are all of them made 100% from Aglianico del Vulture.
100%?
100%, yes. All of them, they are very, very rich and big.
Okay.
But we start from the
lightest.
Easy drinkable, we can say.
That's what I love about Italian wines, is that they're all drinkable, they're food wine, and that's the thing I'm looking for my dish later on. I'm going to make a plate of pasta, fusilli, with the sausage ragu.
It's very brilliant.
Yeah, it's nice.
Red.
It's really light. It's not big on the palate, it's not sitting around in my mouth, but it's still very tasty. I like it, but I don't know if it's the right one for my dish yet.
Okay.
Should we try the second bottle?
So we're going to try the second one.
This would be perfect maybe with some duck.
Some duck, okay.
Duck would be fantastic, or some veal.
So let's try the other one.
So this is the medium to heavy.
Next one, yeah, medium to heavy. This is the first wine of the winery. The name is La Firma.
Already I can smell. Do I think? I think I found my match. But there's still one more wine to go.
Thick, but at the same time, very, very strong, but elegant at the same time.
That's
very
refined.
elegant.
Okay. Wow. That is really big on the palate. It just coats my mouth and... Stop talking, have some more. So I was heading towards the medium to heavy red, but I'm thinking I'm going to head to your big signature red wine there. You know, it'd be perfect with my fusilli dish later on. Not only will it accompany it, I think I'm going to add a splash into the sauce as well. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you for coming. Good luck for your recipe.
Thank you.
Good choice.
After the break, Adam's delicious fusilli recipe.
Sassi di Matera, what a truly amazing place. And cooking with Francesco, I could just imagine him in his kitchen, a real live wire. I'm going to take a little bit of inspiration from his ingredients, and I'm going to make my own spicy pork pasta using fusilli.
For the full list of ingredients and method, visit Adam's Pasta Pilgrimage.
So with this recipe, I'm using some lovely pork with a good amount of fat into it. Firstly, I need to get some good olive oil into the pan. Don't be shy. Grab my garlic. So I allow the garlic to infuse into the olive oil. It's going to take a couple minutes, just giving a stir every now and then, making sure that you don't get any colour onto that garlic. Now, your pork mince, you want about 70-30. When I talk about 70 to 30 ratio, I'm talking meat being 70% and 30% fat. Fat is where the flavour is, and with this dish, we need it. Also, chilli. Oh, Francesco used chilli he's had it in the sausage. Now I'm going to be using it in my pasta dish. I want a bit of heat, I want a bit of vibrancy to this dish. In with the chilli. Wow, I'm getting the flavour and intensity of that chilli straight away in the pan, so I know it's time to add my pork. You don't want to break down your pork too much like you're making a ragu or bolognese. I want it a little bit chunky. I want to see those chunks going through my fusilli pasta after. So with a spoon, just break down the pork mince, not too much. Give it a little flick. We need to seal off the meat, which is going to take about 2 to 3 minutes to get a good amount of colour onto it. What I like to do is I like to add a little bit of salt right now. It helps caramelise the meat a little bit quicker and also flavours. So the pork is looking great, it's got some nice colour on it now. I need to add some red wine. So the wine has reduced by half. Look at the colour change in there. The mince has taken all that flavour of the red wine, and it's time to add the tomatoes. Whole tomatoes, in they go. Now, just use your spoon to break them down. Okay, so we need to bring that up to the boil and allow that to simmer away once it's boiled for about 8 to 10 minutes. At this point, we need to add our fusilli into the boiling water. Good pinch of salt. in with the pasta. Don't forget to stir your pasta initially when you're adding it into your boiling hot water. Just that way it helps them cook nice and evenly. Okay, sauce has come up to the boil. We bring it down to a simmer. You may be asking why am I using a whole tomato instead of passata. Passata, yes, I would normally add and make it like a bolognese, but I want this nice and rich and chunky. That way it clings onto my fusilli, and I'm thinking about salsa di matera. All right, look at that. Our sauce has reduced down. The color has totally changed. Oh, the smell is amazing. Now, our fusilli, straight out of the boiling water into the pan. No need to strain it over a sink. That way, it's nice and hot, takes on the flavor of that amazing sauce. A little bit more. Wow. But what's a fantastic pasta like this without some cheese? And for me, Parmesan today. Good grating over the top. I'm thinking of Francesco when I cooked with him, when he was giving me a little tap on the bum with a wooden spoon. That's seriously got some firiness to it from the chili. The pork has changed flavour totally. Perfect dish for a winter rainy day. I think everyone will love this. There we go, spicy pork with fusilli pasta.
We came to Basilicata knowing that it was one of the poorer regions of Italy as a result of its landscape and circumstance. But in truth, we found a region that is rich in history, rich in flavour, and rich in the joy of knowing how to live.
Next time, Adam visits Abruzzo. With over 62% of the region being hilly, Adam finds a pasta machine that looks like a guitar. He eats a feast consisting of over 20 courses and heads to the hills to find a shepherd who cooks. For this episode's recipes, stories and more, visit Adam's Pasta Pilgrimage